is really
Um,
sad. And a lot of
right.
the story, the Shakur family, the evidence behind a lot of this stuff, like the top woman who, I mean, the top one of the guys that testified against Afeni Shakur when she was in, up for a frame up in 1969, 70, was the same guy that was the first to rush to Malcolm X's body. His name was Eugene. Just forgot his last name all of a sudden, but you can see in my book. And he was the first guy to reach Malcolm X's body, and Malcolm X's wife. Actually, this guy Eugene's partner, female partner, tried to hold Malcolm X's wife back, who's a nurse, and tried to rush to Malcolm X first. But she was, struggling with this woman and threw her against a wall and ran to Malcolm X's body. And here was this Eugene guy already there and pronouncing Malcolm X dead. Now, the same person, now this guy came out in court as an undercover agent for the FBI, I mean, for the New York Police
Mm,
Department, Bureau of Special Services, and they were the one most working with the FBI's counterintelligence program. And so obviously his job was something nefarious. It was not just to, he wasn't any way loyal to Malcolm X, and he was making sure that the job was successful by the, FBI's counterintelligence program to, murder Malcolm X. Now it was really, of course, assassinate Malcolm X, and that was in conjunction with the CIA because the CIA had already tried to poison Malcolm X in Egypt. So it was known. I mean, the FBI and the New York Police Department don't have that kind of reach. It's the CIA that would go to Egypt and try to poison him to death. He
yeah.
was nearly fatally poisoned in Egypt, but barely saved Malcolm X. And so, and then the same thing, a similar situation happened with Martin Luther King, where an undercover agent, Merrill McCullough, was the first person to arrive at Martin Luther King's body. He was a military agent. He arrives at the body, signals, according to William Pepper's great books on this topic. He was a friend of Martin Luther King's in the 1960s, and he became a lawyer. He was an international lawyer working at Oxford University when he was asked to relook at Malcolm and Martin Luther King's assassination. Came out with some great books like Orders to Kill and An Active State, etc. He represented the Martin Luther King family in a trial that they won to win the fact that, and the jury said yes, it does look like the American government colluded with the mafia to assassinate Martin Luther King. And the first person to arrive at Martin Luther King's body was this undercover agent, military agent, who then, after that assassination, got a promotion to the CIA. Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Because I heard stories about Martin Luther King was still alive in the hospital.
yeah.
I
Now,
seen this old guy, like he
yeah,
was confessing about a story. Like there was two
Pepper.
guys in the hospital, and they wanted to clear the hospital room, and they took his pillow and they choked him to death. That's what I heard. I don't
Pepper,
know if
yeah,
it's
Pepper
really
came
true.
out with a third book that said that based on new witnesses. Now I came out with my work before he came out with his third book. He came out with his third book just before he died within the last few years, and I just didn't have time to to revise these books and all that, and then my films. But that's what I did here on that too. Either way, it was the key aspect that he was trying to show, and I try to show, is that U.S. intelligence assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. the same way they assassinated Malcolm X, and
Hmm.
and the Shakur family
Right.
offers more evidence of some of these tactics that they used against our great black leaders, including Tupac Shakur, who would have been, I think, I argue, a great black leader. He really was already, but he
Right.
died at the age of 25.
Very young.
Whereas Martin Luther King and Malcolm X lived to their late 30s, and God knows we should have had them many more decades, and the world would be a much better place if we did.
Right.
But and so that's basically, I cover a chapter on Malcolm X and the overlap with the Shakurs and Martin Luther King, and the overlap in tactics and all that, and of course cover the attack on the Black Panthers in my books and films and all that. And so I actually, the Shakur family is probably the largest um, part of my Drugs and Weapons Against this film, because of their great work they did um, but and the Black Panthers in general. And but I also, of course, in my other work, cover other musicians that weren't as political as Tupac, but John Lennon was very political. Kurt Cobain was actually surprisingly political too, and Jimi Hendrix
Kurt
got
Cobain.
very political at the end of his life before he died, and dedicated his last album to the Black Panthers, and
Right.
was then murdered.